All right, guys, we're here for another Whale Club Hangout, Whale Club Hangout number 23. Today we have Matthew and Victor, the guys over at Quedex. Their platform is Bitcoin futures and options that they're going to be introducing. As always, my two co-hosts, BTC Drac and Flibber, you can find us all over at ts.whaleclub.io, the TeamSpeak server. We got a Telegram group now too, so you can find us there for a little bit easier maneuvering rather than the desktop app. So Matthew and Victor, thanks for joining us today on Hangout.
Thanks
Thank
for
you for
invitation.
having us.
All right, so we'll get right into it. So, you guys decided to create this Bitcoin futures and options exchange. So why don't you give us some of your background, the background of your team, and why you decided the time was right to found Quedex?
So let me begin. My background is in economic and quantitative analyst, and I worked at one of the biggest hedge funds in Central and Eastern Europe. And professionally, I am from the options and futures and options on various asset classes, as well as from volatility trading. I have been doing volatility arbitrage and volatility algo trading. And also academically, I am a macroeconomics researcher. And at Quedex, I am the designer. I'm the designer of the business logic, and I'm also the chief economist behind all of this.
All right, and
All right. So my name is Victor Gromnak, and my academic background is maths, mainly maths and computer science. I've done some stochastic calculus, some pricing of options, and also some exotic stuff with numerical methods and Monte Carlo and things like that. I've also done some portfolio optimization, written some statistical arbitrage, algorithmic trading strategies, also done some machine learning and artificial intelligence. But mainly my background is financial technology. I've been developing high-performance distributed financial trading applications, and this is also what I do at Quedex. So I'm mainly the architect of the business logic from the IT side, and I've been implementing it. And we have also one more guy on our team. Mateusz, would you like?
Yeah, well, in our team there is Krzysiek Zając, and you probably met him on Reddit. He's Kazet there, and he's responsible for our security, and he's the weapon network expert with background in maths, cryptography, and computer science. And well, he's responsible for the front-end stuff and the global architecture as well at Quedex.
all right, that's good to know, and I'm glad that especially with the complex derivatives you guys are trying to roll out, that you have some kind of that modeling background as well as a more practical trader background as well. So, why futures and options? I think now we have. I want to say this is maybe the 6th futures exchange. Obviously, you guys are coming out with options. I know of 2 other options exchanges that are in the Bitcoin space. So, what gives you guys the edge? What's your, what users are you targeting, and what makes you basically different than those competitors, or better?
Well, first of all, let us start from our security model, which I think is something that is distinguishing us. As you probably noticed, we are based on the OpenPGP communication protocol, and this, as we believe, together with our architecture, provides well, exceptional security that makes us and our user protected from phishing, man-in-the-middle attacks, and cross-site scripting attacks, as well as distributed denial of service attacks. But that's the security model, and on top of that, we believe that what is currently needed is the complete market. You have, as you said, there are many futures exchanges, but there are no exchanges that offer both futures and options and, well, complete one-stop shop market experience. And we are there to fix that. There is to make the experience, well, matching the professional derivatives markets. We have also implemented two market models. We have the continuous session, which is, well, something you're probably familiar from any other venue, but we also implement the auction matching model. This is to make sure that the manipulation happens much more rarely, and that focuses volume when it's mostly needed. That is on settlements, on high market moves, and on openings. And, well, the biggest our advantage finally is the option stuff, which well, we will strive to do in the best possible way, and the option stuff will enable you to really trade, for example, forward volatility. You will, thanks to that, you will be able to match any payoff you'd like to have, or the less risk-inclined users could, well, amplify their long Bitcoin holdings returns by covered call selling, or just by ensuring their Bitcoin holdings. So to sum up, we have these four edges, and we believe we'll make most use of them.
All right, let's just start with the product we're most familiar with as far as features. What are you guys offering as far as leverage goes on that?
Currently, we are offering up to 5x leverage. This is due to the margin requirements. Currently, you could obtain much higher leverage on our long options positions, which can deliver leverage much higher, about, well, 10, 20, depending on its moneyness, without comparable risk. We are familiar with the fact that the Chinese exchanges offer up to 20 times the initial margin leverage. However, we are not sure if that approach is optimal. Well, time will show.
Yeah, I mean, how are you guys going about, clearing the forced liquidation or margin calls? Are you doing central clearing or socialized losses, or how do you plan on going about doing that, or do it currently?
Well, regarding the margin calling and the margining stuff, we have two margin levels which are most commonly met on every other venues. That is, this is the initial margin level and maintenance margin. And you get the notice when the initial margin is depleted, and the liquidation happens when the funds are less than maintenance margin. And when the liquidation happens, if the liquidation proves unsatisfactory, and, for example, the customer suffers losses, then the losses are socialized. So currently, it's not a centrally cleared, or not perfectly centrally cleared stuff. The socialized losses in our implementation is a little bit different than, for example, on OKCoin.
Sure.
We liquidate through the market orders, and if after the liquidation the client stays with the negative balance, then the sum of all negative balances compound up to the sum of the losses that will be socialized, and the losses are socialized daily.
Okay. Do you think, I'm just curious, do you think there's a little bit more like systemic risk there, that your entire order book could be wiped out if you're using market orders versus limit orders with that socialized loss system?
Well, this is a feature that is not yet implemented, but I will briefly describe that because it's in the process of being released. As soon as the market order appears and the whole order book is going to be swiped, then the auction is triggered, and the market makers can use this time to jump and to to bring the necessary liquidity. And well, that's an occasion for well, arbitrage and for the speculators as well. So I think that model would bring benefits to, well, every market participant, even to the one who is getting liquidated, because when the auction is triggered, then he will be able to get a much better price.
Interesting. I mean, I'm vaguely following that, but I see it as a much different way of going about, the actual liquidation process. Let's bring Flibber in here. Flibber, I know some of the things that you are always concerned about is kind of what they're doing as far as email sign up, KYC, AML. What do you have to say?
Hi guys, well thanks for coming on. Yeah, I mean, I had a look at the site, and I was curious as to like where this business is registered, and what are the legal implications of that?
The business is registered on the Marshall Islands, and the company is domiciled there.
Mm-hmm.
As a consequence, there is no KYC or AML necessary.
Okay. Well, that's good to know, and I liked hearing your guys' backgrounds too. That sounded good. Standing from a skeptical point of view, anybody can make the backgrounds. And if I'm going to deposit coin onto your site, how do I know you're still going to be here in 12 months' time?
Well, that is something in the crypto world that is very difficult to counter. There is always that kind of counterparty risk. We have a plan to make sure that our funds and the customer funds are transparently and provably there. Well, probably Victor will be able to tell you more about that.
Yeah, sure. So from regarding the proof of the reserves, we are going to implement, which you probably know, most of the exchanges employ that solution, the Merkle tree-based proof of reserves.
Okay, proof of reserves is great. You've got all the reserves, so you can steal all of them. The biggest problem in the crypto world is these people running off with people's money. So, what's your plan to try and win my confidence to put coin on your site?
Okay, so we may say that we are somehow established in the crypto community, as Mateusz has said before. We've started. We especially he is present at, for example, the Bitcoin Assets IRC channel, and is quite well known there. And well, we hope this brings some credibility in.
What's the username in the Bitcoin Assets chat?
I will write it on your on the Hangouts chat. It's Vivialm, and you can verify it in the Bitcoin Assets network.
We generally think that the whole idea of the OTC network and world web of trust is quite important. Well, the solution with PGP is somehow borrowed from there because they use PGP everywhere, and we hope that this is the solution to the security and authentication problem, the private public key cryptography. And we also have some ideas to also integrate our website with not only website, our whole system with the web of trust. Maybe if someone has trust high enough, then he will be able to get higher leverage. So it is not only proving that we are trustworthy, but we'd like this relation to be in both directions.
That's quite interesting. So the problem with PGP, of course, is it's not very user-friendly. And I think, I mean, it's very secure if you know how to use it, and the Web of Trust is also a nice thing, but for your average crypto user, I think that might be quite a barrier to adoption.
We also...
Sorry.
You want to take it?
No, please continue.
Okay. So, well, this is actually true. So the bare API on our website is when you select PGP API and then trade or register. This is the place when you may paste the encrypted message. But yeah, we see that this is quite hard to use. So we've developed a trading app which is under the button trade with our app. You may download it, and it hides most of the technical details you need to know to use PGP. So you still have all the pros of using PGP, and we hope it's quite easy to use.
Is your app open source at all?
Sorry?
Is your app open source, so I could compile my own version if I was paranoid about the binaries?
Yeah, sure. It's on GitHub. The link is also on our website. It's open source, written in Python. This is actually why we have this app, because PGP is something we cannot do over a web interface. That's why we've introduced a web app.
Is the app available for download now?
Yes, sure.
I actually have a screenshot up of it right now. I didn't get a chance to download it and launch it, but actually I'm pretty impressed.
I can share my screen with an app running if you like.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, trying to get it to work. Sure. All right, do you see it?
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, so this is currently quite simple because, well, we first aim at all the structure of our instruments, futures, option, what Mateusz mentioned, then on the security, and then now we have time to work on our UI and user experience. So it's not perfect at the moment, but we hopefully we'll get somewhere. So what you basically see here currently, first of all, if you run it for the first time, you get a registration wizard, which is, we hope, quite easy to use. And currently you see all the instruments listed here, futures together with options. And if you click some symbol, the order book will appear at the left, and some very simplistic plot for the moment. But you see the whole order book, and at the right you have the order entry. You may choose futures, options. American options are not there yet. This is something we will use once we have delivery. And okay, I place an order, but actually, as we have the phases of trading session, and currently we have no trading. The session will begin at what hour it will be in UTC? 19 UTC. So currently we have no trading, and if I try to buy something, we will see that the session is currently not active. But if I open a position, it shows up here. Here are my pending orders, and here are all the numbers regarding the margining and so on. So the balance, as Mateusz said, the maintenance margin, the level below which the liquidation is triggered, and the initial margin, the level below which a margin call is issued. And there is also some account info. And you may also change such settings as email, and choose whether you want emails to be encrypted or not, because they're encrypted using PGP. By default, we have PGP everywhere. There is also some refresh button, and also, just some additional features. You may decrypt an encrypted email to we've sent to you, back up your accounts, change the settings, and so on. Yeah, this is briefly what it looks like.
I thank you for that introductory walkthrough. I'm wondering, just to be a little bit critical and some guidance from a UI UX perspective, are you concerned that some of the new users coming over that would want to use your platform may be a bit intimidated with the notation you're using? I understand that you're using a more standard kind of legacy finance notation, but it actually requires a lot of brain power for me to go through those contracts and figure out exactly what I'm looking at. Has that crossed your mind as far as maybe making it an easier experience overall?
Well, first, before actually I try to justify our quotation choice, let me assert you that, well, we are very aware of currently established practices in the crypto futures exchanges, for example, on OKCoin. But when we were facing the choice, we thought that what is appropriate for the Bitcoin young Bitcoin economy is the Bitcoin-centric platform, and from that it seemed natural to consider Bitcoin a home currency, and futures on dollar and on CNY on the Chinese yuan should be treated as foreign currency, and consequently, when the notional is fixed amount of dollars, then the pricing should be completely in Bitcoin. But you might say that actually the dollar is the unit of account in Bitcoin, and what actually matters is the convenience of the users. And I would say, yeah, okay, you can easily convince us about that. It would be very easy to change for the FUSD future to make it look like then, for example, an OKCoin future, because long position in FUSD is the same as short OKCoin position, but it is more difficult when we consider options on dollars with fixed dollar notional. When it comes to strikes, that's easy to invert. Now, when we have strike, for example, 4, that corresponds exactly to $250 per Bitcoin. And call, with that notation, call becomes put and put becomes call, everything's fine. When the problem is, it's when we consider the price, the quotation of the option price. Option is a sort of a right that can be bought or sold, and when it's bought, then it should be displayed somehow in Bitcoin, that the sum you pay for that, for the right, if the exchange is Bitcoin denominated. You can avoid that. For example, you can quote it in, for example, in implied volatility units. For me, that's no problem. But I think the retailers would, for the most of the retailers, that would be the game over. You could quote it in the percentage of underlying, fine as well, but it doesn't actually show how much premium you pay. Or you could leave it. The premium is in BTC, strike is in dollars, and everything is in the inverse notation. But then the premium is incomparable to strike and to the underlying. So, you are our prospective customer base. And if you tell us that any of the alternatives you have is better than what we present to you now, then, definitely we will consider that. But for me, it's not that obvious. Or maybe there is a fourth solution which is somewhere out there, and I haven't come up with the better one. So the options is actually the thing that enforces, from our point of view at least, such notation.
Well, I'm not so keen on really debating with you using Bitcoin as the home currency and the fiat currencies as the the foreign currencies. I do think you are running into a non-familiarity aspect of if users are going to come over their platform, they do need to kind of come up to speed with that choice that you've made. But more technically speaking and visually speaking, I'm looking more at just kind of the notation that you're using as far as, I mean, Flipper can echo this, and we've actually, when we had alt options on here, I said the same thing to them. It should be very intuitive to me what I'm getting into as far as a call, for example, BTC, I forgot how I did the notation before, but it could just be call 250, right, price, and then expiration date, 08/24. Because we know the way futures works is it's BTC date, so we know when it expires. So I think we had them actually put the strike price beforehand. I should bring up some of the images. Are you guys familiar with the retail trading platform Thinkorswim? It's a very popular platform.
Well, actually, I am somewhat familiar with the platform. I most often used a little bit more institutional platforms, and I cannot trade on my own as I was when I was employed at the fund. So I have a vague experience with Thinkorswim.
Okay, I think I can pull this up here. But basically what we're looking at is kind of the way they visually represent the options chain here. So I'm going to share this. Just give me a moment here. Here we go. You see my screen?
Yes.
All right. So, I mean, like, this is extremely intuitive to me that the way they've laid out these options, you have the calls on the left, puts on the right. Your middle is basically, you have your expiration, your strike, down you go. Very easily visually intuitive to what I'm getting into. Do you see how there's a big difference between that and what you guys currently have on your platform? Because I was staring at it as you guys were talking, trying to understand if I would enter this contract, what I was entering in. And maybe, I can get some input from Flipper and Drac here as far as how they're kind of feeling on the UI experiences as well. Because I like the app, by the way. That's marvelous, and that you guys have done very, very well there. I'd just like to see it represented in a little bit more digestible way.
May I just share a screen with you for a second?
Yep.
Do you see my screen?
Yes.
This is our website, and once you choose products and options, I think you get something you've just mentioned, that we have USD, CNY, the expiration date, the strikes listed, and calls at the left and puts at the right.
All right. I mean, it's there certainly. I don't think it's quite as aesthetically.
Okay.
And the addition that I'm going to add here is if you start to walk out to something like Thinkorswim, like they would include in your basically your strike representation of puts and calls. They would include like the Greeks in there too. So there's just a toggle on Thinkorswim where I could have, delta, vega, gamma across each contract, giving me that as well as open interest and such like that. So again, I was a little confused. So why are you guys using strike 2.753 versus, like the standard USD? I'm a little confused about that. Can you go over that for a moment?
I thought that, I tried to address that a while ago. First, I just wanted to add that, our app is definitely not yet suited very much for heavy option trading. It only allows to send an order on a single option. That would definitely change in future, in particular when we will launch our full-featured desktop version, as well as a mobile app. But well, let's return for the second to the strikes. It would not be a problem if we, as I said, if we put the strikes and as well the futures prices in the inverse notation. That is to say, for example, instead of call option with the strike 4, we could say that the put option with the strike 250. But the price of the option premium, would still be either in MBTC, which or in any way Bitcoin related price, which would be, well, incomparable to the strike and to the underlying price, or it would be based in the percentage points or implied volatility, because there is no, well, I do not at least see any fourth choice. You can either have it that the premium is not represented in the terms of the strike and then the underlying, or you can go into more advanced option notations, which I believe would be not suitable for the retail traders.
Well, maybe you could offer a couple different versions of that, maybe not to get too distracting. And Flibber and I, we've talked to BitMEX a lot about trying to represent what we're trading in the simplest form. And they ended up breaking off where they offer kind of like a basic platform and a more advanced platform. But I'm kind of asking you, as I'm a user, do you think it's best to get users if you represent it in the way you have it? Because right now I'm asking a lot of questions and I'm actually still a little confused about it, and that's why I asked you again before. As far as the strike representation, you're putting already hurdles up that people need to, hoops they need to jump through to get up to speed on your platform before they've even gotten comfortable with putting money on it. So you have to really think about that, and as far as getting customers, because Flibber and I and Drac have been there since the beginning on OKCoin, and we actually remember some of the stuff that people said about OKCoin. And if you look at that platform, it's become very user-friendly. But people were saying, what's this settlement thing? Settlement, some scam this company made up just to get more fees and stuff. So you have to understand those are the users. Now, if you want a large user base, you're going to have to think about that. Now, there's other places that maybe want a smaller user base. I don't have anything against them. They just have to understand that if they talk to me about a larger audience, which is the OKCoin audience, this is why I'm bringing up those concerns. Flibber, do you have something to add?
No, I mean, I would just completely agree with you. Like, as a first-time user of like options and stuff like this, I really need to be babied through it. And I think the Bitcoin like traders and whatever, they're not kind of like experienced people with options and stuff. So yeah, making it as easy as possible, I think, is really important.
You might want to consider making some tutorial videos to kind of really explain, because I mean all the terminology, strike price, write down, it's alien to most Bitcoin traders.
Yeah, and one idea could be, my first options trade. Just like a very simple tutorial. Like, this is how you do it, this is how you make money, this is how you lose money.
Well, you bring very, very important points, and that's definitely something to consider. First of all, the idea to have multiple representations of the same thing is worth considering. Also, we thought about addressing at least partially your concerns in the quickest way possible. And the way to do it is to use our another contract. We have a contract not only on the USD or CNY, we have the contract on BTC USD exchange rate. And to introduce options on that contract would bring immediate results in terms of notation familiarity, because then the prices are the prices everyone is familiar with. There is a drawback to that. Actually, you do not have a fixed dollar amount of notional. But for the beginner users, maybe that's the way. And time will see. Time will show us.
But to my understanding, if I have gotten your point correctly, you're concerned that since their Bitcoin value is fluctuating, so is basically their collateral.
No, it's not.
Or value.
No, it's we do not worry about the collateral value of the contracts. I'm rather worried about the suitability to match certain hedging strategies. For example, for the miners definitely profit more from using the contracts that have a fixed dollar amount, and they can match their cash flows exactly with that.
Yeah. I mean, I certainly won't speak for the miners because that's not anything that I do, but I do see a need there. I think what's the tough balance is you have basically a huge dichotomy between what I consider our group as more of like the degenerate gamblers that want the high leverage. They don't care about socialized losses, and they flock to usually very short-dated contracts versus the miners that are on the complete opposite side. They want, some kind of certainty as far as no socialized losses. They want longer-dated contracts, but now the question is you're stuck between two sides wanting to do two different things, and the liquidity is usually on the front side with, the more speculators. So you see the problem that I'm kind of articulating there. I necessarily don't know how to solve it. I'm just saying it's, when you offer those two products, right, and you're going to have the miners flock to a certain one and the speculators flock to the other one, it gets hard to draw the liquidity you need to be, a viable platform that people want to trade on.
Well, certainly that's the point. You cannot have one contract for hedges and another contract for speculators because there will be no side to take the risk from the hedges. Definitely that's something we'll have to handle. And as you mentioned, the socialized loss, socialized losses system. I think there is something we have to add to that, if you mind. As I said before, we do implement the socialized losses system. However, we do not think it is convenient. As you said, it's convenient for all the users. The socialized losses socialized losses system has a great benefit. One great benefit, that is, it almost completely removes the counterparty risk. However, we like to diminish the risk of the socialized losses appearing, and probably you would also benefit from that. Well, if you do not receive the haircut of, say, 20%, well, that's something you'd be happy about. And we think that there are tools to diminish the impact of the socialized losses. The first is something I already mentioned. It's the auction stuff. The second is the exchange reserve, and we already have that, and we will continue to build it up in the future so that the losses are first taken from the exchange and not from the users.
Is that kind of like an insurance fund, essentially?
Yes, that's kind of that, and that can, unfortunately, there are situations when the losses can exceed that fund. Mm-hmm. We plan to issue credit default swaps and make the credit event as provable as possible.
Oh, nice! So
there will be yes, there will be an instrument for you to trade and to bet exactly on that. You can take the risk of participating in the in the losses, but if everything's okay, including consuming the reserve of the exchange, then you get profit.
Yeah, I like that idea. That's very, very clever. So essentially, if I'm assuming, when you say every day you are settling the social
Excuse me, do you hear me?
Oh, I think he's just cut off.
Yeah, seems so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously covering the socialize losses aspect of it, but he's lost his audio. Well, I mean, let's get to like what really matters here: fees. You know, what are the costs? Because one broker, I mean, as good as it is, I mean, you assuming one broker is your competitor?
Could you repeat, please, your question? Could you repeat your question?
Are you assuming one broker is your competitor? You know, onebroker.com?
One broker? No, I'm rather unfamiliar with that service. And well, we did not treat them as our direct competitor. As far as I know, they are focusing on CFDs and not on the futures and option stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I know there is a big competition in terms of fees from the Chinese exchanges. They have exceptionally low fees. We think that we will be able to compete with them, not in terms of strike such low fees, but well with the maker-taker commission scheme, in which the market makers, those that get the orders filled,
what kind of fees?
Would get, well, depending on their volume, they would get either very low fees, they will get no fees, or even they might get rebates if their volume is significant. So I think that's something that can be taken.
Have you got any numbers for us on that?
Not yet. We have yet to estimate the results of the challenge and of the competition. And just after the launch of the exchange, probably most likely there will be a period of no fees fees at all to invite traders apart from the challenge. And after that, then we could give our exact numbers for the maker and taker. But definitely we are aware what is already on the market, and we are aware that we need to have an offer that it's beneficial to the users who can go to other venues than our platform.
Yeah, I mean, there's not many competitors offering what you're offering, really, is there?
Well, the futures exchanges are our competitors, and the options exchanges as well. So, we need to take that into consideration, and I hope our maker and taker commission scheme would be something that it will suit your preferences.
Yeah. So Vix, you're back on audio now.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I just wanted to finish my point where I got cut out there. I think that's really cool that you guys actually have an insurance fund on the possibility of a socialized loss, as well as you actually went further with the credit default swaps. So each day you settle those socialized losses, right? It's a daily settling of those?
Yes. It also has a beneficial side. You cannot lose more. You cannot lose what you have already earned in previous days. So, only the unsettled profit or loss from the current day is at risk. In addition to that, we plan to be as transparent as possible, so that the price which poses a risk of a credit event is displayed and publicly available, so that any trader can estimate the risk of trading near the prices, and what we hope, the expectations of coming closer to that prices would make the price a little bit revert and calm itself.
Sure. As well as, I mean, if you're being transparent about it and they have a somewhat understanding as far as the possibility of socialized losses in exceeding that insurance fund, you would see the premium in that credit default swap start to get bid up pretty hefty as well. So I mean, people could just decide to play that, or they could buy the insurance, even knowing that any profits they have will be covered because, essentially they're buying that insurance product, right?
Well, indeed, that's what we hope for.
It's interesting. I'm fascinated by that. Very cool. So just continuing here, I did want to, come back to a point that Drac made that I think is very, very important. And, especially considering, there was actually a pretty big learning curve for people to go from spot trading to futures, because we had all kinds of question of, well, what am I paying for swap fees? Where's the margin come from? This isn't BTC. This is fake BTC. So now we go from the linear derivative product, which is a future, to a nonlinear product that's an option, and there's a huge learning curve there. So as he was saying, some very basic stuff of how do I place a trade and what these things mean, but you really need to think about the educational side to get people understanding the product of options. And that's one thing that I've been doing a lot of thinking about is, tutorial videos, blog posts, etc. Have you guys thought about that some or to a larger degree?
Well, definitely there is much to do in terms of, education, in terms of preparing the tutorials for the users, and it's not something that is already there. Because, as you probably noticed, what we have is actually the core upon which new layers will be added and new descriptions of the service need to be added. And I definitely agree that the options and the non-linearity of the options is something that is not obvious for the users and something that should be documented and will be documented. And I'm sure that we will. I hope, at least I hope that we will finally get to the level when we could introduce the third layer of complexity. That is the index that is calculated from the option prices. I mean, the VIX index, and maybe the products on that. We will get the BTCVIX. That's not just a wonderful person, but also maybe contract, if you would allow to use this term.
I like that. There was one other point I was going to make. So coming back a little bit to the educational standpoint, but also maybe to be included in your web-based, your desktop app. Have you thought about introducing stuff like the risk profile? And, so if people decide, even if they're just entering a trade, maybe it's much more visually intuitive for them to see what they're getting into. And then especially if they decide to add multiple legs to that, even simple bull call spread, bull put spread, it's nice to see that in visual format. Thinkorswim does that well, especially for stuff like condors and butterflies. Have you thought about including any kind of risk profile that's pops up or is some addition to your desktop app?
Well, definitely yes. As I mentioned, the app is not suited for trading options in that way, as you described. It only allows you to send a direct order. But definitely the Greeks will appear, the pair-off and risk profile graphs will appear. Decent plots are necessary as well. We are aware that the strategy builder is something that all options traders would appreciate, and these things are on our roadmap, together with actually separate order books for strategies that could be executed at once and not causing unnecessary risk for the traders. And yes, we are very aware of that.
Yeah, I just threw up on my screen just kind of a visualization of stuff that I use on just the Thinkorswim platform, and you have basically a straddle in the middle of a condor as far as this trade construction. But it doesn't have to be this complex, but it does a very good job of me being able to visualize the trade that I have on, the ranges that I'm looking at. It visualizes the Greeks as of current day, and then even with them you can click through time, and I can watch the current day risk graph move towards the expiration, which is the expiration graph, which is that red graph. So I think those are very important points for people to start to understand just how many different ways you can slice options and use it to your advantage. Because a lot of people think too linearly. They haven't entered the nonlinear realm, and to them it's like, okay, I want to buy, I want to get long. Well, maybe you want to play sideways. Here, even what I have up on my screen is a perfect illustration of what a sideways constructed option strategy would look like.
Well, I have nothing to add to what you say. Definitely that is something we will implement step by step, but, well, definitely yes.
All right. We're coming up close to the end of our allotted time. I like to keep these under an hour. I want to bring, I guess, lastly, before I bring Flibber and Drac in for some closing comments, are you guys going to offer any kind of referral program?
Yes, sure. The referral program is deeply combined with the fee structure, which I had an opportunity to discuss a little bit with Flibber. Naturally, the referral program will appear when there are fees, actually. The first month, probably months of operating the exchange would be without any fees to attract and to demonstrate the exchange to the wider audience. And we plan to have a plain vanilla referral program that is the fee sharing. If
Gotcha.
you refer users, then you can participate in their fees, and also the exact numbers, as it was in the fees case, are not yet determined. But I hope there will be something for you to enjoy and be satisfied with. Also, well, moving a little bit from the referral topic, there is one thing I'd really like to mention to you, as you are serious traders. There is a FIX integration coming soon, and this is a thing that I'd like to announce to you, and, well, have your at least slight feedback. Is it something that you expect, or is it something that's not very high priority for you?
FIX API, is that what you're talking about?
Yes. I mean the FIX gateway to have installed and to connect by it to the exchange.
Well, my understanding, at least from the retail side, is we haven't seen a lot of usage, even with the exchanges that have FIX currently. I do like that that's the direction they're going, because a lot of these exchanges have really shitty APIs. So it should open up the doors down the road. I don't think it's something that I'm glad to see it's trending that way. It doesn't get me super excited though.
But no, thanks.
Okay. All right. So Drac or Flibber, do you guys have some closing things to add?
Well, I'd just say, guys, thanks for coming on. I look forward to using the platform. I mean, I think the mobile app is obviously really important. Probably more important is going to be the education side of things. So, but I've learned a lot from talking to you guys, and I think you've got a really good-looking platform. So, I just want to say, thanks for coming on.
Thanks.
And Drac?
Well, I'm just speechless. I don't think we've ever had people who appear to be so competent before on the Hangout.
This is true. Although I don't want to throw the other hangouts under the bus, but
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm frankly I'm speechless. I obviously have a lot to learn about this particular area of trading, and I'm definitely going to, participate in the early days on your exchange.
cool. All right, well, guys, thanks, thanks for coming on the Hangout today, Matthew and Victor from Quedex. They're launching their futures and options platform here. You guys are very welcome to join us over on the TeamSpeak server, ts.whaleclub.io, where us traders hang out and talk about all the Bitcoin price movements. And until next time, signing out for Whale Club Hangout.